you don't want to be, okay. If you don't want to be recorded, then you need to turn off your camera. And, you know, also, there's two ways that we will make the recording available to people afterwards, and we'll also have a transcript that we'll make of the meeting and do some minutes from that. We hope to have a really good discussion. There'll be two ways for you to participate with discussion. One is through the chat feature, where you go to the bottom of your screen and there's a little thing that says chat. You can hit on that and direct your question to the Q&A man. It says Q&A Lynn Skidmore. And you can direct your question that way, and he will make sure that it gets brought up and answered. Or you can raise your hand. There's another little thing that says response. And you can hit on that and raise your hand, and Allison will be watching for those to bring those questions in. I will not be able to see you. I see your names, and I see some of our presenters. They're that. But if you start waving your hand wildly to be recognized, and I don't recognize you, it's because I didn't see you, because of the way we've done the security here. So both Allison and Lynn will be looking for that and making sure that I know that you're there and you're responding. When presenters speak, then we'll be able to see them when they're speaking. They'll be able, but otherwise everybody is muted until they're recognized, and your name will be shown, but not who you are. So we'll see how this works. I'm sure it'll be fine, but it's not quite as neighborhood friendly as we've had in the past.
Dorothy, this is Patrick from the library. May I make one additional comment?
Yes, please.
Okay, for those who are interested in raising their hand in order to ask a question, the raise hand feature is going to be located in one of two places. If you look at the bottom of your screen, there should be a control panel, and towards the right end of your control panel, there is an icon with kind of a smiley face, and it says reactions. If you click on that, you will see the raise hand feature, and then simply click raise hand. If you don't see raise hand located under reactions, then click on the participants icon, which is towards the left of your control panel. And towards the bottom of the participants window, you may see some icons such as go faster, go slower, and so forth. And one of those is going to be raise hand. So if you have the more updated version of Zoom, it's going to be in reactions, or otherwise you will find it in the participants window. I hope that helps you out.
So we may want to just, maybe each one of you might want to try either sending a quick question to Lynn Skidmore so you know that you can, how to do that, or you could raise your hand and just find where it is and check it out. So Allison knows that the rest of us know what we're doing. So Lynn, are you getting anything?
Nothing yet. I see a couple of hands though.
Okay. So if you're having troubles on the chat, send a note to Lynn, and we'll see what we can do. So with that, I want to get going. I think I spoke with the fire department today, and they are not going to be able to be here tonight to present. They did ask that I let everybody know that this is a particularly important year for the fire department because it is the year for recruitment. They will be hiring in 2022. But it takes a while for people who are applying to get in the physical shape to meet all the demands of being a fireman. And I've actually seen those physical exam tests, and they're pretty rigorous. So we want to encourage people to start thinking about applying for the police department. And we particularly want to have people from our community applying. We really want to have a more diverse, representative city workforce. And we've got a lot of men and women who could do a really good job. So he asked that we think about that. And they will be with us next month. Darlene, are you there? Lynn, I need you to unmute Darlene, who is Daffy Biz.
Okay.
Her and Alan need to be co-hosts.
I got it. I'm just trying to get the picture to come up.
Okay. So while you're doing that, also we need to make John Larson as a presenter visible.
It's done, Dorothy.
Okay, and Josh Roboyo already is. Councilman Rogers
Yes, everyone who needs to be is.
is there. Okay, so
Picture.
so it is our tradition for the last 4 years that in February
Okay.
we recognize the service of those public servants who come to our monthly meetings 10 times a year to update us on the public services. And we particularly try to recognize those that we see the most often here. And so with Detective Curdy leaving us, and he has been with us for a number of years, Darlene has something that she wanted to present. So Darlene, can I turn this over to you? Can we see you? Okay, this isn't quite working out.
Darlene, you'll need to unmute.
So, and Detective Curdy, can we see you?
I hope so. I have my video going.
Allison, can you see Detective Curdy?
Detective Curdy, we do not see your video.
We do see Detective Oliver though, but we can't see him. We do probably need to he's going to be speaking, so we need to make sure that he can be seen.
Yes, he is.
Okay, so we have him.
Darlene left, but Alan, if you're there and able to unmute.
So while they're working on that, Detective Oliver, would you like to present your report of what's going
Okay.
on?
Go ahead.
Sure. Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. First, it's good
You're
to see
on.
Detective Curdy.
Oh, hold on. Sorry, I'm sorry. Alan has just unmuted, so I just want to make sure.
You're
Sorry,
on.
Detective Oliver.
No, you're fine.
Yeah, I got booted off or something with this thing, so I'm trying to get back on again. So Alan was letting me use his sound.
So Detective Oliver, I'm going to let you go ahead. And then we'll have,
They didn't hear me.
we can hear you.
Oh, okay.
All right. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. It's my computer's going a little bit weird, so I'm gonna try and pull up the stats that I've had for this month. Are there any questions or concerns first before we start with the basic numbers? And I'd like to say I haven't seen Detective Curdy in quite a while, and he's looking quite damper. That looks good.
Thanks, Sheldon.
Yeah. Are there any questions, concerns right now that need to be brought up?
I don't know if you can answer this. I did
Uh-huh.
get a call from neighbors about a week ago that officers were going door to door asking if people had heard gunshots. I don't know if the person who called about it is not on this call.
So yeah, that could possibly happen in a shots fired call. They kind of want to triangulate where the shots are coming from. So if they have more than one neighbor call on a shots fired call, it helps us out as officers so that we can kind of do a triangulation as to where they may have come from. So yeah, if there are officers knocking on doors asking if they've heard them, that could be an investigation into a shots fired call. Yes, absolutely.
Okay, thank you. Some other issues from people or questions? So Detective Oliver, tell us what you've learned being our liaison in the last month.
The Bryce had a lot of stuff squared away. So I'm just trying to remember what to do in his shadow here. So I got some big shoes to fill. I just got a chat that came up, a question on the chat that says, is there anything being done about the racing that goes on Redwood Road? Is there a certain time that occurs? Because we have a lot of street racing on the weekend. And if that's occurring on Redwood Road, that's something that we should be aware of.
So Detective Oliver, when you say make aware, what does that mean? That you're going to be talking?
So for instance, on the west side of Salt Lake, every Friday and Saturday night, we have a lot of street racers. We have up to 200-300 cars out there that are racing. And I haven't seen any calls on Redwood Road for that many cars, but if there's speeding or stuff going on, then you give me an email, shoot me an email, and we can maybe send our motors out on it and have them maybe post at certain times. But if it's an organized thing, that's where we need to be aware that there's more than just people going over the speed limit. And I know we have had in the past up near 22, I think, Bryce, if I'm wrong, let me know, but up near 2200 north on Redwood, 1300 north, sorry, on Redwood, they've had street racers in the past up there.
Yes, that's correct.
So if there's anything that's organized, just shoot me an email and we'll work on figuring out who's organizing it and see if we can put a stop to it. If there aren't any other questions, do you want to add anything to that, Bryce? Since
Yeah.
you know this area a whole lot more than I do.
Yeah, for the most part, that wasn't really a regular occurring event. It was, mostly happened in the summertime, and it was kind of hit and miss. So nothing regular. Every other month or so, we might have a case here or there, but nothing as well organized as what you're used to seeing way out west by the RC Willey Distribution Center. Nothing close to that. So really small time when you compare, what we were seeing over on over in D1 as opposed to District 2.
Okay. Sweet. If there aren't any other questions or concerns, I'll just go over some of the stats for last January. This is specific to District 1. The Part 1 offenses have gone up considerably in January. The biggest concern, of course, is always motor vehicle theft. There were almost 39 in January, which is an increase from the 18 that we saw last year. There were also 22 burglaries in January as compared to 13 from last year. So that's an area of concern that that we need to be on top of. And I've talked to a couple victims in the burglary side just recently, and that's a concern. So we are aware of some of those things that are going on. Just at the end, I'd just like to pull up some of these more statistics that says, let me see, this is not normally how they have it set up. Okay, so in January, this is always an interesting number. There was over 14,000 doses of marijuana that were taken off the street in District 1 for a street value of $84,428. There were 11 doses of heroin for a street value of $110. And amphetamines, there was 181.4 doses taken off the streets in District 1 for a total of $1,814 in street value. So a total amount of drugs taken off the streets in District 1 for January of 2021 was $87,072.87. So that's pretty significant. And it's always good to see when drugs are pulled off the streets. So that's something we'll continue to work on. That's really all the stats. I don't want to take up too much time because we have Bryce on and there's some things that you're going to do with Bryce. But if there's any questions and concerns, I can also answer them on the chat.
Thank you. Darlene? That's your intro. Alan? How is it that we can't? Allison, can you see what's going on here? Okay, there you are, Darlene. Okay.
Now we're echoing. Okay.
Can you show video?
I'll try. No, it says the host hasn't let me show video. I'll try again. It keeps coming up with you cannot start your video because the host
You can
has
try it.
stopped.
Try it again, Darlene.
Okay.
There, hold on.
Well, hold on. There it is.
Well, we can see, there you go.
You just want to break all the cameras, that's all. All right. Am I supposed to be talking to
Detective
Mr.
Curdy.
Curdy, Detective Curdy? All right. Did you get a little package today?
Yes, I did. I've got it right here.
All right. Well, I guess you got the instructions on the front of that.
Yes.
So you can open it. You can open it now if you want to.
Now, can we see him?
Yeah, we can see Mr. Curdy here. I mean, I can.
I have my video going, so if you can't see me, I don't know
Oh,
what
there
else
we
I
are. We can
do.
see.
It's because he's in disguise. He's got a beard and hat, you
I
know.
know. God,
Yeah.
he's changed in just a few months here.
See, that's what happens when they reassign me and I can grow a beard now. It's awesome.
Yeah. Okay, you can open it now.
Well, first of all, let me start off by saying thank you very much. It was my pleasure to serve each and every one of you in my nearly 4.5 years, I think it was. I started in June of 2016, and it was really a pleasure to serve you guys. I'm sad to leave because it was an assignment that I really enjoyed, and my plan was to stay there a little longer, but it wasn't quite in the cards for me, but that's okay. I've been given an opportunity to go back out and serve the community in another capacity, and although it's been interesting because I haven't worked in a patrol capacity for probably. Well, I was in CIU for 4.5 years. And then prior to that, as many of you know, I worked the downtown bike squad for about 6.5 years. So it's been a little bit more than a decade since I actually worked an actual patrol assignment. And so it's been very eye-opening, to say the least. and I'm serving the ballpark area right now. I'm on day shift. So
That's
I
not
unfortunately,
fun.
yeah, I would really was looking forward to getting the opportunity to stay over on the west side of town. But it didn't work out that way. And so, yeah, again, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure serving you guys. I've developed a lot of friendships over there. And I really appreciate everything that you guys have done for me. And this assignment has helped me improve myself in a lot of ways. So thank you very much for that. And yeah, so I was pleasantly surprised. I got an email today from the desk officer. Alan, thank you so much for the wonderful note. So this is what I was greeted with up here. And although tempting, I have not opened it. So we'll do so now.
Okay. Oh, what did I do? Oh, there it is.
And very nice. So this is what, hopefully, there's a slight glare on the camera. I don't know. Hopefully you guys can see that okay.
So Alan, you want to read it out loud so people can know what it says?
Curdy can read it out loud.
Yeah, so it says Detective Curdy, thank you for 5 years of heart. And there's a heart, and it's a picture of downtown Salt Lake City with your guys's with the Westpointe Community Council logo in the bottom right hand corner. So very nice. Thank you very, very much. And
we have something else, right, Dorothy?
Right. You want to tell them what it is?
Okay, yeah. We decided that you and the new detective, Oliver, I think, should go out to lunch together. So as soon as we can figure out how to get that card to you, you have a gift card coming for the both of you to go have lunch at, is it Lofty's?
Lofty's Bar and Grill.
Yeah.
Very nice.
And the owner will be there with you and host you. And between you and Detective Oliver, just need to kind of come up with a time. And when you do, we want to take a picture. I've talked with the owner at Lofty's, and he'd like to have a picture of the two of you guys having lunch with him there at Lofty's. And we'll have Alan, Darlene come by, and we'll take a picture. We want to put it up on our website and send it to your wives. I don't know. So normally we would have given it to you at the meeting, but we really can't do that this way. So
Right.
we'll do that.
Well, thank you so much. It's I really appreciate it. It completely unnecessary, but thank you very much. I'm grateful for everything that you guys have done for me, and again, I appreciate the experience, and it's been my pleasure to serve you guys. So thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Detective Critter, are you working undercover? You don't
No.
have to answer that question.
No, I'm not. I'm assigned to the Liberty Patrol Division right now, so I'm working the ballpark area Monday through Thursday. I was luckily for me, I've been around for a minute, so I was able to get some pretty good days off. So I have Friday, Saturday, Sundays off, and so if you're in the ballpark area, perhaps you will see me around. So.
Well, thank you so much. And Detective Oliver, you make sure you get a hold of Detective Curdy and set something up here.
I will. Thank you.
You're welcome. So Josh, let's go to you. You need to unmute.
All right. Can you hear me well?
Yeah.
Hey, Josh.
All right.
If I could just interrupt real quick, it's wonderful to see you. I appreciate the email that you sent me, and I apologize I didn't get back to you.
That's all
So,
right.
And then with that
Thanks.
being said, I'm going to jump off if you guys don't have anything else for me, because I've got some dinner waiting for me. So,
Good going.
okay. Thank you so much, guys. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks.
Thanks, Josh.
All right. So I have some links that I'm gonna share with all of you in the chat. Let me see if okay. So I think that went through to everyone. Should have. Just a series of links that just kind of go over the things I wanted to share real quick. I'm not going to go for too long because I know we have a lot of other things on the agenda and it took us a little bit to get going. So the mayor delivered her State of the City address last month. That was given from the city council chambers and was a live internet broadcast and is available to watch on YouTube and on Facebook. And the mayor went over in the events of last year and looking forward to 2021 and goals and plans for this coming year. Together with that, she did also release an annual progress report, which is that second link that I shared, which is accounting of the various goals that the mayor set at the beginning of last year and checking in on where those stand a year out. And there's quite a bit of things that we're able to get done or get started, and others that couldn't get started or delayed because of the pandemic and other things that happened last year. And so you can take a look at those things, the state of the city. You can read the summary of it and read the progress report for 2020 and take a look at those and see what direction the city is looking at for the next year. And of course, if you have any questions or comments or feedback on that at some point, whether tonight or in the future, just please reach out to me, reach out to our office. So the other link that I shared is on the Racial Equity in Policing Commission, which was established to review the police department budget, culture, policies, and programs, and making recommendations for changes that are meaningful and sustainable for the police department. And I think those broader recommendations will be coming out later this year. But at this stage, they are doing listening sessions. And so on the 28th of last month, there was a listening session done and with the city council, with the commission members and the mayor. And there was quite a bit of participation in that. And so at that website, the SLC Rep Commission, slcrepcommission.com, you can rewatch that broadcast of that listening session if you haven't caught that. That was a lot of experiences and feedback that was shared there. Also on that website, you can share your thoughts and feedback regarding policies and practices, training, school safety, any other topic related to the police department. And you can do that either sharing your name or you can do that anonymously. So there's plenty of opportunity if you want to share your voice on that commission to do so. The fourth link I shared is for slc.gov/jobs, and it's just there's various departments and throughout the year that are hiring for various positions. Right now, one of the pushes is for the compliance division to hire crossing guards for schools that are going back to in-person learning and hiring crossing guards for that. The other program that I just wanted to mention is an apprenticeship program with the city, with various departments, including public services, public lands, and transportation, to learn practical skills, participate in workshops, and for people that are at least 16 years of age or older. And it's a time limited position only through June. It's a temporary apprenticeship for people that want to learn, get specific job experience in a specific area of the city. And so that is also on that link to the jobs website, jobs link. I know we have John Larson here, so I'm not going to, I don't know exactly what the, I think we're maybe talking about something else, but the 600 North, 700 North project is one of the projects that transportation is working on to make improvements on that corridor. And that link that I shared is a link to view the 3 different concepts that have been determined of how to improve the 600, 700 North corridor. And so at that link, you can view the story map, which is just sort of a presentation of the 3 different concepts for that corridor. And then you can take a survey, and it's available in English and Spanish. Take a survey to give your feedback on what you'd like to see there. And so I'd encourage you to do that if you haven't. And that is going to be open for the next little while here. Also, just wanted to draw attention to the Salt Lake City government Facebook page. We're just 10 days into the month, but already we've had a panel question and answer session on unsheltered homelessness, a virtual open house on the 300 West project, making improvements there. And there's a lot of other updates that are posted there. So I encourage you to check those out, and answers a lot of questions that people have on a lot of the most common issues in the city. And that is all I have at this time, and I'm happy to take any questions.
Josh, so if there's questions that come to you later on, just put them in the chat, send it to Josh directly. Councilman Rogers? Did you have?
I'm here, Dorothy. Yeah.
Okay.
And I just wanted to make sure, Josh, you said 600 North and 700 North, but I believe it's 500 North and 600 North in regards to that study. Maybe John Larson, if he's on, he could correct me if that's wrong. But I believe that's what it is.
Yeah, sorry, I'm here. Yeah, so you're asking about the extents of the study?
No, I wanted to make sure that it was the 500 North and 600 North, not 600 North and 700 North.
Well, it's, yes, I mean, so it's the 6th/7th North corridor as well as 500 North. And we're hoping to see construction this year for long overdue traffic calming on 500 North.
Yeah, I was really excited about this because, you know, just so the community knows, we've been at this a long time trying to make sure that we've received the funding to do this. And just so those that are following along understand that Director Larson actually added to it because there was concern that by doing this study, the East-West Connection Corridor study, that people said, well, if we do this, people are going to go onto 500 North, and it's going to make that street even busier. And so John said, well, actually, that's not true. It's proven, but we'll go with this and do this study along with 500 North so that we can show you that that's not the case. So I just want to thank him and his team. And this is really exciting. These are the opportunities that we've been looking at for the West Side and this connectivity to East-West, making it easier for us, whether it's alternative modes of transportation with, you know, the bridge that's going over the railroad tracks for those kids that are going to West High, or anyone for that matter going across the railroad tracks can do it safely. So a lot of great transportation projects coming our way. And I know that that we're going to be discussing 2200 West tonight. So Dorothy, I just have a couple highlights, and that's in regards to the legislative session that's going on now. We know that we're more than halfway done with it, but Salt Lake City still has its eyes on several bills. One in particular is a billboard bill that would give billboard companies the opportunity to install a digital sign on any billboard anywhere, you know, without going to the municipality to make sure that they could get that approved. So there's a lot of like overreach that, of course, the legislature is looking at, and that's what they're supposed to do, is looking at ways to improve the way the state's run, but there are impacts too. So a lot of water bills, a lot of police bills that are being done right now that the city's watching. There's an RDA bill that's really a shame because they're looking at changing the way RDAs are done. So it kind of bypasses the opportunity of collaborating with the county and with the school district and just creating an RDA district citywide. And that just, to me, that's a real problem, both financially in the future. If there's a shortfall, where do you make up that money for that project area? So just a lot of things that, you know, hopefully go away, and I'll be able to report on it when we meet at our next session in regards to some of these bills.
We were going to talk about the inland
Port.
port things,
Yeah.
but we're not going to have a lot of time to do that because we
Well-
got started late. So maybe you could address what the heck's going on.
Yeah, so there's a lot of gossip going on, right? And it's gossip by one particular party, which is Sitla, that is trying to, in my opinion, force the Port Authority as well as the city to, you know, look at helping them in remediating the landfill. Well, we know the city is liable for a lot of that. I mean, in theory, we are, I should say. I shouldn't say that. But in theory, that's what is assumed. And so, you know, that's just, he doesn't feel like it's moving fast enough. And we want to make sure that we're being great stewards with this tax increment that we've been given. And, you know, I appreciate Jack Hedge saying that, you know, he does not see a intermodal transloading facility north of I-80 at all or ever. So that's exactly what I want to hear. I think that the only reason that there should be promotion of rail north is for manufacturing jobs, where you create that opportunity, because for manufacturing companies to come here, they need to have access to rail in order to do that. So yeah, it's very comforting to hear the Inland Port Executive Director say that that is not what we will be doing. That's not what we're looking at with our tax increment. So yeah, it was just somebody stirring the nest, and of course anything Inland Port related gets blown up, and of course it should, because we've been fleeced a couple times, and this is our opportunity to get out. So yeah, Dorothy, and I'll keep you up to date as soon as we hear things that come up, but that's really where we're at. There's nothing in looking at a trans offloading facility north of I-80 at all, recreating, you know, what's already there south of I-80. So it doesn't make any sense at all in looking at that. I hope that answers a few questions. There's going to be a lot more coming, because I know there's other things that they're looking at for appropriations, or, you know, ways to improve our transit and our maneuvering of freight. So
Thank you so very much. So with
Yep.
that, I'm going to go to you, John. We said we'd want to put at least a half an hour aside. We've got enough time to do that. I'm going to leave everything else to the next meeting and focus on the transportation thing. You need to unmute yourself.
Okay.
And that, and you know, John has been very helpful. We had met with him and his people from Westpointe to talk about 2200 West in, I think, November. Jordan Meadows had raised some issues, and I think we have India. If you see John, you see India Nelson. She's from Jordan Meadows. I think Joseph is also here from Jordan Meadows. You know, they have, I sent John the issues that you had, and Cherish Clark, I think you can see her name here. She's here with Fair Park about that. So just so you know who you're talking to. And with that, thank you for coming, John. Take it
Sure.
away.
Well, I appreciate this opportunity. We have a lot of great things in the pipeline for this area, and I also recognize that there are a lot of long-standing and ongoing issues that are frustrating. Like people that use, you know, trucks that use engine brakes on I-15. You know, a lot of railroad freight that you know, blocks streets for inordinate amounts of time. And we've talked with you know, with some groups about, or some folks about 2200 West. You know, it's basically historically been just kind of a quiet country road, even though it's, you know, relatively close to the city, but it appears that there's some increase in truck traffic there as well. And then with some demand for growth, there's a lot of development pressures there. And some stuff is out of our hands, like people annexing into a whole different county, into North Salt Lake. And that's all that development's going to put pressure on the infrastructure that we have here in Salt Lake City. We do have some plans in place to help create a road quarter mile west or so, west of 2200 West, that eventually we'll be able to get in place. Right now, we don't have dedicated funding, so it would have to be developer driven. But that would really help. In the short term, we did look into the source of at least some of the truck traffic, and it appears that at least one of the property owners off of 2200 West has been illegally storing soil and has been trucking it to and from that site. So I reached out based on our last conversation with the Westpointe community group. I reached out to our code enforcement. They looked into it, and indeed they are violating the zoning laws, and will be going through the enforcement mechanisms that they have available for the code enforcement people there. So hopefully that can help a little bit. And then an issue that we've
So, John, could you be a little bit more specific? If people should see a difference in a month and a week, ever?
I honestly, unfortunately, I have to admit, I'm not super familiar with how what their processes are with code enforcement, but I would assume within, you're talking weeks, that they can go out and start issuing fines. So hopefully that can help. But that was one of the items that I wanted to follow up on, is that we were able to verify that they are illegally storing and moving soils out there, and that's created unnecessary truck traffic. So one of the other issues that we get, frankly, all over the city, but it is worse on the west side, is trucks and RVs that will park on the street. And they, I'm going to put, I'll be posting some links here. So here, this is from our parking enforcement group. This has some kind of FAQs as well as some contact information. So there's an email and phone number that you can call. Regardless of the vehicle, it's against city code to have it parked on the street for more than 48 hours at a time. So if you see that happening, call this number. It's in the link, but it's I'll just post it in there to make it for easy access, but it's 535-6628, and let them know, and they can come out and issue tickets. It can be a little bit tricky because often folks will just keep moving around, and so it kind of cycles. But it seems like over the last year or two, the issues of street racing and basically camping on the street with trucks and RVs seems to be proliferating, and some of that, is larger economic issues, Rocky Mountain Raceway closing, people being bored because of the pandemic. There's a lot of issues at play there. One thing that I want to talk about that's really positive, and Councilmember Rogers has really been the champion for this, is with Funding Our Future. So I'm going to put a link in here for the transit dashboard of city-sponsored bus service. So we adopted a citywide transit master plan in 2017. And then we're able to almost immediately turn around and get to work on trying to make it a reality. And oh shoot, my links, people are private messaging me, and so some of my links are going not to everyone. Sorry about that. Let me repost a couple of things. See, the parking enforcement link looks like that went through. So here's the number for parking enforcement. Here is the Funding Our Future transit dashboard. So we were able to get an agreement in place. It's with Utah Transit Authority, one of the first cities in the nation to really do this, to say to the regional transit agency that, hey, our city needs more service above and beyond what can be paid for with regional funding. In particular, east-west transit service is something that is sorely needed. That was something that was recognized in the transit master plan. So in August 2019, we were able to improve the span of service on Route 2, which is on 2nd South, and Route 21, which is 27th South and 21st East, both of which end up at the U. And then take the Route 9, which is on 9th South, and extend it west into Poplar Grove and Glendale. And then take it from 30 minutes service to 15-minute service. So instead of coming every half an hour, it comes every 15 minutes. And then it starts early in the morning, goes late to evening, and has weekend service as well, so that people can use the bus not only to get to and from, like a 9 to 5 weekday job, but also you can start building your lifestyle around having transit available. So that was kind of the low-hanging fruit that we started with. And then we're still in phase 1. So that was phase 1A. Now phase 1B is launching service in the Rose Park area. So 6th North and 10th North. And we've been working closely with UTA to lay the groundwork for that. And so as part of that, we are also doing an analysis. Many of you have probably seen or participated in this study to look at options, short and long term. Some of it's pretty visionary, for the 6th, 7th North corridor, to make that premier corridor for transit service. That will ultimately, this route will connect to downtown, and then it will connect to what's currently the Route 205, which is goes on 5th East all the way down to Murray. And then there will also be an additional bus route on 10th North, which will come up 10th North to 9th West, and then eventually up South Temple to the University of Utah. So there'll be 2 high frequency, all day, every day, including weekend service bus routes that connect to downtown and all the way up to the U. It's gone a little bit slower than we had hoped because of 2020. The pandemic slowed us down a bit, but we're on track for, you'll start seeing some capital investments, making it easy. We'll be adding in some bus stops even before the service starts running, and as well as some investments to make it easier to walk and bike to those bus stops, making sure that it's safe and convenient. The bus service isn't any good if it's not safe and convenient to get there to the bus. So those will be added. And then we're also working with the mayor and council to finalize the some on-demand service, which also got delayed due to COVID, but where to fill in some of the gaps for some of the neighborhoods, in particular like Westpointe, that that these new bus routes won't serve very easily, that maybe are kind of a far walk to the bus stops. And so it'll be a service where you can kind of either using your phone or computer or telephone, you can dial up, and then they will come pick you up from, basically your house and drop you off at nodes, at specific nodes, to get you connected to the transit network. This is a service that UTA piloted in the south end of the valley over the last couple of years, and it's been very successful. And so we're looking forward to, hopefully in August 2021, to launch that in the West Side residential neighborhoods. So more to come on that, but that's something that we're very excited about. So and again, very grateful for Councilmember Rogers, who has really kind of been championing this for many years to try and help make this happen. I'm trying to see if there's anything that I am missing. I think that was everything on my list. So I'm happy to answer any questions, take notes. There are a lot of things that either I don't know about, or I don't know immediately how to fix them, but I can take notes and follow up. Every once in a while I actually do know the answer immediately. So yeah, I'm here. I'm available to.
So John, could you talk about the traffic study that you guys were planning on doing on 2200 West, and what's gone on with that, or what your plans are?
Yeah, so we have, sometimes in the winter, it can be a little bit tricky to put out the traffic counting equipment. We were able to get just 1 day's worth of information, but we usually like to get a full week and then average it. Initially, just with 1 day of data, the traffic volumes themselves are probably on par with what you'd see on a lot of residential streets throughout the city, but the speeds are on par with what you'd see on a lot of arterial streets in the city. So a little bit of a challenging corridor that way, but more information to come. We still have to get a full week's worth of data, and then we'll be able to do a little more analysis. And then our planning division is will be leading a small area master plan for the area as well, and we'll be participating in that and making sure that the transportation elements are accounted for.
John, has the city actually received consultants bids on that consulting project to do the planning?
I'm not exactly sure where they're at in the process. I know that they were getting close to releasing, they call it the request for proposals, or an RFP. So last I heard is that would be happening over the next month or so. But it takes several months to get the RFP written and ready to go, and then it has to go through the procurement process, and then it goes out onto the street, and then it takes about usually 4 to 6 weeks that you allow people to respond, and then another month or so to review and make a selection. Government's wonderful, but we move very slow. We have all these processes in place to make sure that that we're doing things in the right way and a fair way, but that also means that things take a long time.
John, this is Allison from Westpointe Community Council. We had a question in the chat for that 2200 West study. Do you happen to know, I know it was only 1 day, do you happen to know how many were trucks going up and down 2200 West from that 1 day?
No, we didn't get that information yet.
Okay.
But we will get the information on the number of trucks.
Okay, there's another question that just came in. Did the traffic study compensate for the pandemic, what day of the week was it performed on? So did it consider that the pandemic has reduced traffic, basically is what I think it's asking. And then what day of the week was it performed on?
I'm actually not sure. Like I said, it was, I reached out before this meeting and they were, our staff that do this were even reluctant to share any data because they said, well, it's just one day. We still need to get a full week. So, but yes, we do. We have been. It's been a tricky year for getting traffic counts, and so we've had to do some adjustments after the fact to account for the dip in traffic due to the pandemic. So we will get all that information eventually. But yes, those are great questions.
I was just going to give a reminder for those who do want to ask questions. So Lynn is available and looking at the chat. So if you want to send any to Q&A, Lynn Skidmore, you can also raise your hand if you would like to ask your question. And again, to raise your hand, if there's one of two places it will be at the bottom of your screen, there should be a reactions button where there should be a raise hand option, or you may find it on that bar at the bottom under participants. When you click on participants, that will pop up, and then that raise hand option may be on the right hand side of the participant screen. So if you raise your hand, we will be able to ask you to unmute, or you can put them in the chat.
And I've had a couple people message me directly asking where that property is that's illegally storing the soil. And it looks like it's just off of 2800 North.
So we
Do
go
we
ahead,
have,
Dorothy.
yeah, I was going to ask, Jordan Meadows had submitted some observations and concerns regarding truck routes, trucks not following the designated truck routes, and also concerns about truck parking in the neighborhoods. Wonder if you have any opportunity to kind of look at those and respond, or maybe India and some of the other people in Jordan Meadows can address that.
Or with the parking on the public right of way, technically we can't stop people from parking. Now with truck routes, we can push trucks back onto the truck routes, and that's an enforcement issue that the police have to get involved to help enforce that. But with the parking, really the only thing that we have that potentially has any teeth is the city ordinance that you can't park for more than 48 hours in the same location. So if you're seeing that happen, then feel free to call the number that I put in the chat, 535-6628, and that's parking enforcement. And then they can go out and they can ticket them. And it's kind of an expensive ticket, so hopefully that can help defer. But if people, word gets out on the neighborhoods where people are willing to call parking enforcement, and so it seems like that can be a way that can help kind of tamp down on that a little bit.
Councilman Rogers, are you in a position to talk about the grant that the Inland Port Authority has submitted with the city regarding a parking structure for diesel trucks?
It's not a parking structure per se. It's more of a facility that instead of these trucks going in communities and parking and idling all night, it would be a facility where they can pull up. It's safe. It's out of the communities. They can plug in, and it would be run off of renewable energy, that type of thing. So they're not idling in Glendale, Poplar Grove, Rose Park, Jordan Meadows, Westpointe area.
And where do you have a site that you're looking at if you get the money?
It's outside of Salt Lake. I know that. So actually, when it would be before, because they're trying to strategically look at this, because those truck drivers can only drive so many hours before their shift is up, right? They can only I think it's 8-hour shifts that they can drive on the truck. So they have to stop literally and pull over. So they're trying to strategically make it so it's within that 8-hour shift, and then working with these large trucking companies so they understand, hey, we're enforcing, the cities are enforcing, this is where you need to be putting these vehicles, not only to make yourself look good, but for the communities themselves so that they don't have the impact. So there's a lot of reasoning behind it. Thankfully, Jack, and we might be one of those things at the end of the session that if it does happen, Dorothy, that we bring Jack in with the Port Authority and discuss a lot of things we're looking to for the future. I think it's interesting that he could talk about the hydrogen fuel cells, that type of thing that you're looking at for bringing for the trucks coming in and building that infrastructure. I think the 5G network out there is really interesting as well, creating that for manufacturers and that facilities. So there's a lot of great things, and actually talking about, you know, the agreements, or the I don't want to call them agreements. My mind's already gone for the evening, but with Rocky Mountain Power and Questar Gas talking about, you know, how we're going to reduce energy emissions and that type of thing out there. So a lot of great things, Dorothy, that I really think that would be nice for both communities to have him come and speak.
Dorothy, we did have Cherish Clark had her hand up. So
Oh,
Cherish,
good.
Cherish,
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
gonna
sorry.
ask you to unmute. If you still have your question, you can go ahead and unmute.
Hi. Hi, John. My name is Cherish. I'm a resident in the Fair Park community. And I've been talking to the transportation, or working through Austin to talk to the transportation department about engine brake use on the I-15. And I've also been speaking with Mara Dressman about it at UDOT. Basically, she says she hasn't heard from the transportation department about this, but there apparently is a policy where local government can appeal to UDOT to put up signs for engine brakes. And her argument is that it basically doesn't work. There's no way to enforce it. And that noise ordinances are violated at the city level, but Utah Highway Patrol can't enforce violations of noise ordinances. So I'm just wanting to hear from you. Do you have an opinion on the signs for engine brakes, whether or not they work, and if it would be worth pursuing UDOT further to put signs up, or if this is something we need to go to the state legislature about to pursue other avenues of regulating, like mufflers on engine brakes and stuff like that?
Yeah, those are all great questions. And, you know, I recognize it's a frustrating issue, especially when it's, you know, one truck after another. And then those engine brakes, I mean, like rattles the whole house. And we've heard from other neighborhoods as well. And it's a super frustrating issue. So the challenge is, you know, it's Interstate 15. And these are truck drivers that drive, you know, they're probably driving it every day. You know, like these rigs that go to and from the refineries to Vernal back and forth 3 times a day. I don't know, I struggle with signage. Sometimes it feels like signage can help, but often what we've found is, you know, there's this term, you know, sign clutter, that if you get too many signs, they just stop seeing them. Or even if they don't, like, especially when they're driving the same route again and again, they just kind of stop noticing, like power poles in your backyard. Sometimes you forget that they're even there because you just, you know, they just kind of blend in with the background. So that's kind of what happens with signage a lot of times. We in the kind of Marmalade, West Capitol Hill neighborhood, they've been really frustrated with engine brakes on 3rd West. And we've had a little bit of luck by targeting the refineries and gravel pits and telling them, like, hey, can you reach out to the drivers? One of the challenges is a lot of the drivers are contractors, and I think that that's probably the case on I-15 as well. But often when they actually, like, you kind of humanize the neighborhoods that they're driving through, and they're able to realize, like, oh, these are real people that are impacted by, you know, my carelessness. There's no reason that they need to be using engine brakes on I-15. It's flat. You know, I mean, if they needed to make an emergency stop because, you know, there's a traffic accident or crash or something, you know, maybe that's understandable. But you know, really it's one of those issues that it's really tough to come up with the solution. But like we have had a little bit of success reaching out directly to people in the trucking industry and just telling them, like, hey, we need you to be better citizens. And, you know, it doesn't make the problem go away, but that could help. But you know, maybe that's something that we have to look at the legislative route to put in some stronger restrictions and enforcement mechanisms that could help, because it's a very real issue. So I don't know if that I'm really helpful or if I'm just talking.
John, there is another question in the chat. Are there engine braking signs on I-80 in Sugarhouse?
I don't even know. I'm happy to look. I mean, I know the signs. You see them around every once in a while, you know, like engine brakes enforced. I think we might have put some coming down Immigration Canyon because that's a city street. So we have a little more control there. But again, you know, we put in the signs, and then you know, the people on their motorcycles go racing at night and keeping people up. And enforcement is still, it's really challenging.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. But I'll talk with Marge. I know Marge well, and she's she lives in the city. She cares a lot, and I found that if something is within her power to do something, she will do it. So I'll reach out and I'll have a chat with her about, you know, what are other potential options.
John?
Yeah.
Allison, do we have some more questions here?
I don't have any. Lynn, do you have any?
Just someone, Chris mentioned maybe doing your traffic study when there's festivals running at the Crossy Ranch. That might be an exceptional traffic time.
Do you know when those festivals usually take place?
They've actually got one coming up.
Yeah,
This
so they have
Saturday.
one in April and May. They typically have a festival in April and May. I know they have one they have a fall festival, and then they just did a holiday Christmas light festival. So they should have some coming up here though for spring. The three that I know of that are coming up for spring are the Baby Animal Festival, the Tulip Festival, and the Sunflower Festival.
Okay. Do they have like a web page where I could look those up?
Yes, they do.
Okay.
I'll put it in the chat to you.
Okay, awesome. Thanks.
John, I will send you the questions that Jordan Meadows had submitted to me, because they're quite detailed and extensive.
Okay.
And then you'll have some time to look at them. And then if you could get back to them, I'll and send it to, you can send it to us. I'll make sure Joseph gets it, or you can send it to Joseph directly. I'll put his number on it and CC India, so she has it. And if there's some other issues, I mean, I know what I should tell you, John, is that I have gotten calls from people when we send out notices to people about the meeting. I never know who actually reads those or sees those, but I know they saw you, and I know they wanted to talk to you because I got calls and they would say, I'm not going to be to this meeting, but I was so glad to know that I'm not the only one that's concerned about the traffic issues. And I know some of them I have asked to send me their questions on an email, and that I said I would send them to you since they couldn't be here tonight. So we'll be working with you on that. There are two people, if there's not any other issues right now, we'll have John back, because when we start getting more data on the traffic study, we'll be wanting to talk with him. And we're also going to be talking to him as they work on the North Point master plan. So we're very pleased that your division is going to be participating in that. I mean, we really advocated with people to make sure that your people were an important part of that. And so we appreciate your staff doing that. And we'll follow up with those questions from Jordan Meadows. And with that, I think Valerie Hill is here. Valerie is with Pacific Heritage Academy. I know, Valerie, I know Pacific Heritage has had some traffic concerns. Did you have anything you wanted to talk to John before we left?
Just that we've asked to get a traffic school slow sign on 1100 North, right by Redwood Road. Redwood Road happens to be a really fast street, and there's a lot of people who come off that fast street, and they come up right by the school and they go really fast. So we just want to bring attention. We've been there for 8 solid years, and we're on our 9th year. And still people don't really understand that we are a school there. So I'm just wondering if it's possible to get that either reduced while kids are crossing the street before and after school, or maybe getting some other signs. I'm not sure. But we have noticed a lot of speeding through that on that street.
Yeah, there are very specific state laws around where and how we can apply school zones. So with that particular issue, we have to follow the state guidelines. But I will, we can look at what other options might be available as well. Just looking at that on a map. So are you right off of Redwood Road? Like, are you that building directly west of Redwood Road there on 1100?
Correct.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, speeding is probably speeding in neighborhoods, I think, is the #1 complaint that we get. And it's citywide, every single neighborhood in the entire city. I've been with the city 3.5 years, and I don't think there's one neighborhood I haven't heard from that has speeding concerns. So maybe that's another link that I can do. The city actually used to have a traffic calming program. And then in 2003, it was disbanded due to controversy from people being frustrated by having to slow down from the speed humps we were putting in, combined with the adjacent streets being frustrated the traffic was being pushed onto them. And so we've really kind of been hamstrung since, almost 2 decades now without really authority or funding to do full-on neighborhood traffic calming. However, there seems to be, there is strong support to begin re-examining this option, and council actually allocated some funding for us to do a implementation plan. So we're going, the plan for the plan is to look at traffic calming instead of street by street, to look at it neighborhood by neighborhood, to help deal with the issue of putting traffic calming on one street and then having it pushed off to the other streets. But if you'd address all of them at once, then hopefully we can help mitigate that issue. And then also rebranding it as a livable streets initiative. So, it's, really getting to the heart of why do we want to calm traffic, is because we want our neighborhoods, our streets to be comfortable, safe places for us to, to live and to work and to play. And so we actually, I'll put this in see if I can pull up the link here. So we are looking for input. It's a pretty quick burn. We're hoping by April to have a plan ready to take to council for their review and potential approval, review and feedback, and then hopefully get some sort of program reinstated in the city so that we can have a mechanism to better address traffic calming concerns citywide.
John, thank you so much for that. We're getting close to the end here, but I want to make sure that Che from West Side Studios has a chance to address the project that the university students are going to be working on.
Hi, how are you guys doing today?
Did I say your name right?
You did, yes. I'm Che Mosqueda. I am with the University of Utah's West Side Studio. And we are having basically right now we have 3 projects going on. We're doing a wayfinding program, placemaking, and then litter, general cleanup, and tree planting. And these 3 programs are being done with Tree Utah, the Public Lands Division, and SLC, and then along with the City and Metropolitan Planning Department in the University of Utah. We're having an event on April 24th from 10 to 2 p.m. We're not quite certain where it's at. I sent Dorothy, a flyer, and basically on that flyer kind of lists who you can get in contact with if you'd like to attend or if you have any questions. And I can also, I can give the email out as well. It's IVIS.
Could you put that in the chat?
For some reason, it won't let me.
Okay, so just give it to us then. Okay.
Okay, the email for that is ivis.garcia@utah.edu. And that is Professor Garcia, and feel free to email her if you have any questions. And yeah, that's all I have to say.
So Valerie, that's the project that I had talked to you about, the school maybe working with the university on. So anyway, Valerie, I'll talk, maybe we can get Pacific Heritage to help you with that. And then, Steve, you had a question here about the libraries. Did you get it answered? The library taxation? Steve? You have to unmute yourself, Steve, or we have to unmute you.
Yeah, hold on, Dorothy.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, you have to unmute me.
Okay.
No, I did not get it answered.
Okay, do we still have Councilman Rogers? So
No, I forwarded the question to him though. I think he received the message, the question.
okay, so we'll try to follow up with that for you. There's some other things that you've asked in the past. I was going to follow up with you anyway. So I don't know if I have your email address, but if you can put your email into the chat, that would be helpful, and we'll make sure he gets it. Is that possible? Okay, anything else? Well, thank you all for coming. It didn't go quite as smooth as I would have liked, but we're working on it. And it definitely, you can have better conversations when it's in person. But we'll work on that also. John, again, thank you for coming, and we'll be having you back. And get that to you. Anything else? So our next meeting, which is March 10th, we are planning to have, I have been contacted about a more detailed presentation about the Utah Inland Port. And we're working on the details of that. That will certainly expand all the traffic concerns you've talked about in that. And so that's what we're planning for in March 10th. So with that, thank you all for coming. And if we can, Allison, if you can do a save chat here.
We'll save it and make sure questions get followed up
And then-
on that didn't get answered.
And then do we also have can we save everybody's email address so I can send them the minutes?
No, but no.
Okay, do we have the people's name? But we have people's names here. I mean, can we save their names?
Yes.
Okay, because so if you've been getting a notice from us about a meeting, then you will get the minutes because we'll send it out. But maybe the best way to do it is to go to our webpage. We have a fantastic webpage now. And Allison, maybe in closing, you can tell them how to get to the webpage in the minutes.
Sure, I just put the link in the chat for everyone. So if you navigate to westpointecc.org, our minutes are typically kept under About the Council and then Community Council, and you'll be able to see our minutes. We're also hopefully going to start something new with a news on our page, and the minutes will be posted on the homepage too if you just scroll down to Westpointe News. So a couple of options for you there.
So give us about a week. We'll try to work on this. And again, thank you all very much.